Hi there, my name is Whitney Reyes, and I am at Lunaria Farmette in Newcastle, Colorado, in the United States of America. I am a mother of two small children, ages 2.5 and 5, and I practice lunar planting and biodynamic gardening. I volunteer at a biodynamic farm once a week, and I work at a Waldorf Steiner school where I teach bilingual parent-child classes for children ages 1.5 to 4 years old. We live in a multicultural and bilingual household. My husband is from Mexico and speaks Spanish. Our vision is one of abundance in community and fertility. We strive for creating community that can enjoy abundance in relationships and in education and connections, personal growth. We also aim for abundance in raising healthy animals and fruits and veggies and building our soils. Here we struggle with inconsistent water. Most of our water comes from an irrigation ditch. We only receive 10 to 14 inches of rain a year. And so we rely on a seasonal irrigation water that is provided to our site. The irrigation ditch in years past has run from the beginning of April until the end of October, but in recent years has been only running until the beginning of July. That's a big change, and we are working with these extreme conditions. We're hoping to build our soils with lots of organic matter and provide shade and catch some water to help with the lack of water. We are working to improve the soil. Our site is located at the mouth of a dry canyon that occasionally sees flash flooding, which brings down a lot of silt. So we're sitting on a silt bed that is devoid of much fertility. I'm very interested in Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's natural science, and so I've added a few quotes from him in here, which are very relevant, some of them very relevant to permaculture. In nature, we never see anything isolated, but everything in connection with something else, which is before it, beside it, under it, and over it. Here we have some maps. There's a base map of permanent structures and large trees. We have some not so permanent structures such as animal housing and some storage sheds, and also lots of small trees around the property. We have some zones before and zones after. The biggest change that we hope to implement is really around the house, creating a zone 1, because right now we have developed a lot of the other property as far as gardens and food forest and hedgerows, but have not worked around the house much. So we're really trying to turn that into zone 1. Sectors are sun, wind, and animal and wildfire sectors. We also have a noisy interstate to the south and a county road that borders our property. Our components map, some of them are already existing, some things that we would like to bring into our property, and some things for fun. A list of some components. We have our water systems that are in place right now. We have water coming from the irrigation ditch on the west and the east side, all gravity fed to spigots where we run hoses with sprinklers, which is very labor intensive. And we hope to install more drip irrigation from the into the food forest here and into the gardens. We have a large 1900 gallon water tank where we can store water and run a pump on a timer to water the annual gardens. But we would like to put in place a lot more drip systems that run off of the gravity. Also, we are looking to implement some rain catchment from the house and from the greenhouse, and create a gray water system that directs the water from inside the house to outside the house. Built environment and paths and connections. This is a fun map I did of the connections of many of the components on our property, and it really kind of gave me an idea of that some things are so connected to so many things, and then the other things are not. And one of those things was these lots of storage sheds that we have had on the property, and they're really not connected with anything. So it really opened my eyes to, how can we integrate them into our systems? Some edges and microclimates. Most of the bulk of the property is full sun, and therefore it dries out a lot. So although it's good for the annual vegetable gardens when we have water, the rest of the time it's very hot and very dry. Plants, trees, and gardens. Right now we are working on developing a food forest with some fruit tree guilds. We have some perennial fruit and multifunctional hedgerows. We like to put some nut trees. And right now, last year we built a garden that is made up of 10 large in-ground hugelkultur beds in hopes of retaining water. And they seem to have worked really well this past year. But we did annuals this past year, and this upcoming year, I'm hoping to do a lot more perennials and plant some dwarf fruit trees in there, because I'm just finding that I don't have all the time that I would like to be working on the property anymore now that we have children and I work. My work is quite a commute from our home, so we're not as home as often as we'd like. Also, creating more gardens around the home, bringing more of the annuals to the home, and so they can be cared for and tended to. Some species on site that are already here. We have native and previously existing edible species, medicinal and culinary, nuisance plants, and some other beneficials. Social and invisible structures. We have a lot of beneficial social and invisible structures, and also some that we have to work with and that we find some difficulty in. Here I made a social and invisible structures map, which I really enjoyed seeing where these structures are, where they find themselves located on our site. And these include teaching and workshop areas, living and gathering spaces, income generating spaces, and communal spaces. Animals, waste, and nutrient cycles. Right now, we're currently trying to bring in as much organic matter as possible to put into our soils to help build the soils. So we get a lot of organic grocery scraps from the natural food store, and organic coffee grounds from a nearby coffee shop. We get some manure from neighbors. One of the biggest changes that I would like to implement in our system here is to create a way to deal with human waste. We haven't quite figured out the best place, the most convenient place for a composting toilet, but it is something that I would really love to do because we really don't create much waste here. And so just trying to eliminate more waste and reintegrate it back into our systems. Here's an up close of near the home and what we would like to see around here. We have a porch that's falling apart around the house. It goes around the southwest corner here, and we'd like to take it out because it's rotting and falling apart, and put in a patio that's bordered by a raised kitchen garden to get some of more of our annuals closer to the home. Also add some annual and herb gardens, and have some more perennial fruits around the home. We are looking to create a gray water system that takes the water from the laundry machines, the sinks, and bring it out to some hugelkultur swales. I was thinking that we could use the hugelkultur idea of bringing in lots of organic matter and making piles and using those to create the swales, so that when they break down, it just becomes hopefully a big sponge, and then we have this good way to keep more of that water. Must we go tinkering about with nature before we can enjoy it? Here's our implementation phases. It's a map on here. We've got some dwarf fruit trees and more perennials in the hugelkultur garden, greenhouse, annual community gardens, and some rainwater catchment, gray water systems. Really, we want to prep and build the soil and plant the water. So let's see, build the soil, water catchment, design and build a greenhouse. We are looking to do that with a climate battery or a subterranean heating and cooling system to help mitigate the extremes of our temperatures here. We often get above 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, and then towards -10 in the winter. So we have a very broad range of temperatures. We also would like to install some bat houses to invite and support these beneficial friends. Design and create guilds in the hugelkultur beds with some dwarf fruit trees. Expand multifunctional hedgerow along the south fence line. And also a big thing is host more community festivals. This year we did a May Day festival and an autumn harvest festival, and it's so much fun having families get together and celebrating the cycles of the year and the seasons, and we'd love to keep doing that and expand those offerings. Phase 2, we would do some more water planting, more drip irrigation systems, some elimination of waste and grass. And our property here was somewhat of a junkyard owned by a mechanic before we came here. So there's a lot of junk and scrap metal and even toxic chemical waste that we're constantly trying to eliminate. Also, we'd love to install and create many of the desired components, including the patio, composting toilet, hugelkultur swales. I think it'd be fun to build a cob oven, design some more workshops and collaborate with others who want to teach workshops at our site. That includes when we build our greenhouse, we're hoping to have a 3-part free workshop on how to do greenhouses, and specifically the climate battery greenhouse, which we're working with our local permaculture institute called Central Rocky Mountain Permaculture Institute, and we're getting some help from them in creating a workshop and designing this greenhouse. We also want to create some teaching gardens and design a more humane system for our chickens, living situation for them. They used to be completely free range, but the more that we plant and build around here, the more that we see that the chickens aren't integrating into those systems very well. So we're having to confine them a little bit more, but we would like to design a better system for them so they can have a more natural living situation. Another thing, I am looking to start a Steiner-based childcare home here. That would be a farm preschool that's totally integrated with the happenings on the farm. Let's see, explore a possibility of caring for a dairy animal, seeing if we have space, if we have time, if we can integrate that into our home here. We'd love to do something like that. And really do some feedback and review of what is working and what needs to be changed. Let's see, implementation phase 3, years 5 to 10 and up, is mostly about observing and tweaking systems, maintaining the gardens and the systems we have, building upon inspirations, or eliminating what is unnecessary, not contributing to our system. A big thing that we may consider is building a straw bale home on the other side of the property and completely turning the house into a part-time childcare center and community center on the weekends, where people can come and teach workshops, and we can teach workshops, and for workshops that would need an indoor space or a kitchen. And just constant review, feedback, and tweaking and making changes. We have some more observation about our hardiness zone and the type of climate we live in. We live in a pinyon juniper forest, which is a high desert area. We have some information about the people that live here and neighbors. Maintenance plan. I've set up a maintenance plan for daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly tasks according to seasons, such as every season, every day, we feed the animals. And like we prune fruit trees once a year in winter time, stuff like that. I interviewed my family for the stakeholder interviews. I feel like they have the largest stake in what's going on here. My husband, myself, and after going through the course and integrating children into permaculture, I was excited to, I interviewed my 5-year-old daughter, and it was just really sweet, and I love hearing what little children have to say. Resource list here. We have lots of sun and some water. We have manure, stones, a wood shop. Wood shop provides quite a few things: income, tools, scrap wood, wood for building. Very handy. Fruit trees, perennial fruits, veggies, and herbs and seeds that we have lots of, and we hope to share with lots of other families and other people. Personal boundaries. I have been doing a lot of work with this as a parent, because you need some strong boundaries when you are a parent for your children, for yourself and your parenting. And I really enjoyed this course. I found it to be very rich. There were a lot of different perspectives, and a lot of information on a lot of different things. I appreciated a lot of the resources because there was some really interesting stuff. I also appreciated the time frame that we had to complete the course, because I was able to go through 3 seasons and really get some good observation on what's going on in each season around our home. In conclusion, I really look forward to utilizing systems thinking in all areas of my life. And I really look forward to implementing our design here and thinking with a designer's mind about many aspects of my life, and continuing to practice permaculture with my family. Thank you for being here with me and being a part of my presentation. And I'll leave you with one more quote. One must ask children and birds how cherries and strawberries taste. Thank you.